What's up, y'all? It's your boy G. Bacolod, Philippines. Going to be discussing midlife crisis and the effects that it has on you financially. It's raining quite a bit here, so excuse the noise. But before we get into this video, I want to share another story that would basically explain to you exactly what a midlife crisis looks like. All right, so check it out.
But to be honest, I was a chubby kid. I wasn't good with women. I didn't do well with women. So I basically only had one major girlfriend when I was a teenager. And I got married really young when I was 21. And I was married for 17 years. So I never really sowed any wild oats. I think up to that point, I had only been with like 4 women in my life. I never really felt handsome or desirable. And then suddenly, when I'm pushing 40, all these young women start messaging me and showing interest. And it basically triggered a full-on midlife crisis. I went out and bought me a shiny red sports car shaped like a penis, and I began f***ing around on my wife. She was an amazing woman. She is an amazing woman. She was loyal to me the entire time we were married. Awesome wife. And I let my ego get the best of me. She didn't like the person I had turned into. She didn't like the cult of Dusty. And unsurprisingly, she divorced the shit out of me. But anyway, at the time, I didn't really even care. I had all these attractive young women messaging me. And like most men who are going through a midlife crisis, I was afraid this was my last chance to get out there and sow my wild oats before it was too late for me. I was actually excited about being single at first. I decided to lose a bunch of weight, get in shape, move to Denver, Colorado, and try to live all those experiences that I missed out on when I was young. Look at this. I got super fucking skinny. And I actually did date a lot of really beautiful women while I was there. But to be honest, I missed my wife. I thought there was this big hole in my life that I was going to go out there and try to fill. But then I realized there wasn't actually any hole in my life at all. I had everything I wanted. And by being selfish and cheating and going out and doing this, I actually created a giant hole in my life.
All right, so what is midlife crisis? Let's go ahead and look at 2 definitions. I got Webster's and Oxford's definition. Webster's definition: period of emotional turmoil in middle age between 40 and 60 years old, characterized especially by a strong desire for change. Then we have Oxford's definition: an emotional crisis of identity and self-confidence that can occur early middle age. So you look at these 2 definitions, they're both kind of similar, but both kind of different, right? We got one that's focused more on a strong desire for change and another one that's focused on identity and self-confidence. But the common denominator between the 2 is that emotional part. So if one can get a handle on the emotional part and get that in check, then they basically can overcome a midlife crisis. And the reason I wanted to briefly discuss a midlife crisis is because this channel is specifically geared towards improving your finances. And a midlife crisis basically has a lot to do with impulse spending, and a divorce due to depression and discontent can severely affect your finances. So we have to discuss it. Studies show that about 10 to 20% of adults in that age range of about 40 to 60 actually do experience a midlife crisis, right? Everybody goes through depression, but to where it gets to a crisis mode, only about 10 to 20% of people experience that. So when we talk about happiness, happiness peaks at around age 30, and then it gets to its lowest point at about age 50, and then it peaks again at about age 70. So we're trying to figure out exactly why it gets to its lowest point at around 50, and I'm going to be discussing that with you in just a bit. So during our middle ages, a lot of us will face new stressors that we've never faced before that would contribute to a midlife crisis, right? So we got a lot of people that regret their career path. They'll get into something and they all of a sudden decide that that's not the best option for them. We've got a lot of people that regret their financial decisions, right? They'll make some bad investments and they'll lose a lot of money, and they'll find out, okay, I probably could have done a lot better if I would have made a better decision years ago, right? There's a lot of people that worry about their physical abilities. Of course, none of us are spring chickens anymore, right? And those that are in our middle ages, we have a lot of pain. We just can't perform the same that we used to. A lot of us, we got to hold handrails when we walk upstairs. I found that my issue is I drop a lot of stuff, right? So my brain can't really connect to my hand and tell it, okay, grab something at this amount of pressure so that you don't drop it. I'm just walking around all the time, and all of a sudden I'm just dropping stuff out of my hands. And that's just coming with my age. At that age, you're also going to be losing different people in your life. If you're about 40 to 50 years old, that means that your parents are about 70 to 80 years old a lot of times. And if you're not losing them, a lot of times you'll be caring for them, and it causes a lot of stress because that's something that you really didn't plan to do. Caring for an ailing family member, causes you stress financially and a lot of different things. There's a lot of people that's suffering from empty nest syndrome. You've been raising kids for 20 years, and then all of a sudden your kids decide they want to move out of the home. A lot of people celebrate that, but there's some people that it actually stresses them out because they've been a parent for the last 20 years, and all of a sudden their child's gone. So they have to figure out how to mentally deal with that. So have I ever had a midlife crisis? I would say no. I have made a lot of bad decisions, and I made them at this point in my life, in my middle ages. However, I wouldn't attribute that to a midlife crisis, right? A lot of the bad decisions that I made were really attributed to not having the proper mentorship. A lot of people normally would depend on their own parents, like their father. However, me and my father never had that type of relationship. I would go over his place quite a bit when I was much younger. He worked a lot, and by the time he got off work, he was ready to just lay down and go to sleep. And so I never really got a chance to spend a whole lot of time with him. I didn't have the opportunity to have a lot of one-on-ones with him so that he could teach me exactly how life is and how to make things a little easier for me. So because of that, I made a lot of decisions later on in life, and I'll take full responsibility for that. And that's exactly why I would say that it's not exactly a midlife crisis, because I understand and I am aware of the decisions that I made, and I'm not going to say that I'm content with it, but I accept everything that has happened to me, and I'm able to move forward with that. All right, so a midlife crisis can be with a woman or a man, but it appears that men are more affected because they're the ones that do a lot of the impulse buying and more indulgent with their purchases. They tend to make big purchases like new vehicles, jewelry. They tend to use alcohol, drugs a little more, and they tend to overeat. So if you feel that you're spiraling out of control and you feel that you might be dad smack in the middle of a midlife crisis, I'm going to give you 4 things that you can do to kind of put you back on track. All right. Number 1, accept change, right? Change is inevitable. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. You need to identify the areas in which you can't affect that change. If it's beyond your control, then don't worry about it. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels and stressing yourself out further than what you need to be stressed out. This one's an AMS favorite. Number 2, maintain your sense of purpose. Engage in old interests. If way back in the day you like to do certain things, bowling, kite flying, biking, whatever it is, you might be in a point to where you could actually do that right now, right? So find something that you're interested in, and once you start partaking in that, a lot of times that'll give you a renewed sense of purpose. A lot of times when you help others, that gives you a sense of purpose as well. Like if you start volunteering and using your time wisely to help people get on their feet, then a lot of times that gives you a sense of purpose. Self-care is number 3. You already know. Eating right, exercising, getting enough sleep, steering clear from people and situations that cause you more stress. Number 4, adjust your perception on aging. It's not bad at all. It's actually a blessing. Do a little self-reflection. Be more appreciative. Show some gratitude. Ask yourself, what have you accomplished? What have you done over the years? Ask yourself how you can be of value to other people, right? Start reflecting on who you are and what you've done, and that will tell you exactly where you're going. Adjust your perception of aging. So those are 4 things that you can implement that would help reduce a midlife crisis. Now, keep in mind, we all get depressed, right? We all get down in our luck sometimes. During that time in our life, we're faced with a lot of stressors that we normally wouldn't face. But only a few people will actually experience a full-blown midlife crisis. It's important to recognize that that's what you're going through and take the steps in order to make the changes. take action on the emotions themselves before the actions of the emotion take effect on you and get you into a situation that you can't recover from. That's all I have for today. It's your boy G, Bacolod, Philippines. If you have experienced a midlife crisis, please let me know how that went for you. Put it in below in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, it's your boy G. Be blessed. I'll holler at you later. Aloha. If this video was of value to you, like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, it's your boy G. Be blessed. I'll holler at you later. Aloha.